Chapter 9. Adrian Lucero stood before the towering windows of his penthouse suite, staring down at the city that lay in submission beneath him. Once these streets had been filled with noise, commerce, life as it had always been, until the disappearances had turned the world upside down. Now the roads were patrolled by his enforcers, the screens were flooded with his message, and soon there would be no resistance left to crush. A smirk played at his lips as he sipped a dark amber liquid from a crystal glass. He had waited for this moment. Behind him, monitors hummed softly, displaying a world unraveling and reforming at his command. News anchors, carefully selected and groomed, spoke of unity, of a better world forged from the ashes of the old. Dissenters, those still clinging to outdated beliefs, were labeled terrorists, their faces appearing on the screens alongside the words, "Enemies of a New Era." He reached for the remote, rewinding one particular feed. Ethan Matthews and his son Daniel. Adrian's dark eyes narrowed. The father had evaded capture, slipping away just before his scheduled community center registration. More than that, his name had been flagged in connection to Pastor Robert Hayes, a man who should have been eliminated already. Lucero turned at the sound of a knock. His assistant, a sleek woman in a perfectly tailored black suit, stepped inside. "Sir, your 9 o'clock has arrived." Adrian set down his glass and smiled. "Send her in." The doors opened, and Celeste Warren entered. Celeste stepped inside, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her breath tight in her chest. The moment she saw Adrian Lucero in the flesh, a mixture of fear and something else entirely twisted in her stomach. He was charismatic, powerful, commanding, a man who could make you believe in his vision simply by the way he spoke. And she hated herself for how easily she had been drawn in. But what choice did she have? She had spent the past days walking the edge of a knife, watching the world shift before her eyes. The disappearance had rewritten everything. What once mattered no longer did. Faith was punishable. Compliance was rewarded. And those who hesitated, they were crushed beneath the machine of the Global Unification Initiative. Adrian motioned for her to sit. "Miss Warren, I trust you've had time to consider my offer." Celeste hesitated, then lowered herself into a chair across from him. "I have." His piercing gaze held hers, waiting. She licked her lips, the war raging in her mind. She had gone to Pastor Hayes for answers, for truth. But truth was dangerous now. She inhaled sharply. "I want in, completely." Adrian's smirk deepened. "I expected nothing less." His words felt like a contract sealing her fate, and yet, even as she spoke them, she felt the ghost of a warning in her soul. Far beyond the veil of the physical world, Claire stood in the realms of eternity, watching as the battle on earth and the heavens intensified. She could see it all. Adrian's rise, the force of darkness wrapping around him like chains of shadow, the deceit slithering into the hearts of men and women who believed they were choosing power, when in truth they were surrendering their souls. Michael, the warrior angel, stood beside her, his golden armor reflecting a light that could not be extinguished. Around them, the armies of heaven stood ready, their weapons gleaming with divine fire. "The battle is shifting," Michael said, his voice like thunder, rapid and calm. Claire nodded, her heart aching. Lucero's influence is growing. Her eyes drifted downward, towards those still resisting, the remnants, the few who had refused to bow. She saw Ethan and Daniel slipping through ruined streets, moving in silent defiance of the beast that sought to consume them. She saw Pastor Hayes, shoulders heavy but spirit unbroken, leading the few who still gathered in the shadows to whisper prayers in secret. And then there was Celeste Warren, standing on the precipice of eternal choice, her heart caught between deception and redemption. Michael gripped his sword. The enemy knows his time is short. Claire felt it too, the shift. Demons prowled the city streets, whispering false promises into the ears of the lost. Their blackened forms slid through the corridors of power, feeding Adrian lies wrapped in gold. And behind Adrian, in the unseen realm, a monstrous force loomed, a prince of darkness, his eyes burning with ancient hatred, his whispers curling around Adrian like a poisoned fog. Claire's heart clenched. The war was escalating, and those she loved were caught in the center of it. She turned to Michael. "We have to help them." Michael's gaze burned with celestial fire. "And we will." The heavens trembled. The battle had begun.